Hello and welcome to Bar 20 Arms. Today we're going to do complete disassembly and reassembly of the Remington R1 1911. First things first, let's clear it. No magazine. Chambers cleared. We're ready to disassemble. First step is to pull the hammer back in the rearward position and push the safety up. And then you'll want to take your barrel bushing wrench that's supplied to remove the barrel bushing, the cap, and the recoil spring. So if you've never done this before, I'm going to do a real basic disassembly. So those of you that have veterans of this, bear with me. I just want to make sure and cover all bases here. So all you do is you put the barrel wrench over the bushing, push down, and turn clockwise. Now I'm going to cover up here because it's, and I'll explain in just a second. That's why you got to use, you got to cover it, otherwise the spring will push the cap off and it could shoot across the room. So there's your recoil spring cap. Remove your recoil spring, and then what you'll want to do is you'll want to now you can at this point use the wrench again and turn it counterclockwise to bring the notch into the lower part of the slide so that you can remove the bushing. This bushing cannot be moved by hand. It's fitted to the barrel. It's extremely tight. So at this point, bring the safety down so that you can move the slide. Pull the slide back a little bit. Turn the barrel bushing. There's a notch on the bushing that lines up in there, and you can just slide the barrel bushing off the barrel. There's that notch. And then I don't know if you can see it, but inside the barrel bushing there's a it's a heavy groove or a raised edge on the bushing, and that's where it's fitted to the barrel, and it is tight. So that ought to make it a shooter. So at this point you'll slide the slide rearward until it lines up with this half notch, or as they call it, the takedown notch. On the opposite side of the slide you'll push the pin up and then remove it. You just pull it straight out. Push the slide forward. You can turn it upside down and push the slide forward off the receiver. You'll lay this receiver aside. You don't need it at the moment. You want to remove the guide rod. Push the barrel bushing forward and slide the barrel forward out of the slide. And there you have it. That is a field stripped 1911. At this point you'll want to clean it up real good. Use solvent. Get all the carbon out of it. I use a toothbrush on the breech face. Scrub it down real good. Get it nice and clean. Use a real light oil. You don't want to splash on lots of oil because this thing will, it'll splash it back on you when you're shooting, and that is an unpleasant experience. So just a real lightweight oil, and then you'll clean out your barrel and a light oil. And then I always light oil all these metal parts, because metal on metal, it wears, and as you shoot this you'll start to see it wear in. Pretty much a good rule of thumb is oil anything that's shiny, outside of course the barrel's shiny, but you'll see it start wearing in certain places, and you'll want to make sure and add lubrication in that area specifically. Then you have the lower receiver. You'll do the same thing. Do a good cleaning. Use solvents, and then a real light oil. And here's that trigger lever that I was talking about. and they install it here, and I'm not really sure what greater purpose it serves, because the 1911 as a whole has been fine without it up till now, but I'll have to do some research into that. But it's a feature that they added in their pistol. So it changes kind of how you reassemble it, and that's why I wanted to do a disassembly and reassembly. So anyway, let's get back to the reassembly. Done in reverse order, real simple. Get your slide, your barrel. You'll push your barrel bushing forward, slide it into the front of the slide, and you'll line it up with the you'll line it up, and then it'll slide right in. At this point you can pull your bushing up. You'll put your guide rod in, the notch side down towards the barrel. It should fit the barrel. So you don't want to do it like this, you want to do it down. And it fits right up against the bushing. And then at this point, you'll want to put your receiver, slide it on the rails. And you'll slide it forward. Now this is where it's slightly different than most 1911s or a typical design. You have this bar here, and as you can see, it's protruding downward. Now if you were to slam this forward, you would damage that, and you would have to send it off to be repaired or take it to a gunsmith. So make sure you push it forward or push it down into the receiver, and then go ahead and slide your slide onto the receiver. At this point you turn it right side up, jiggle it a little bit. If it don't go right in, you just kind of jiggle it a little bit and it'll fall in there. Then you want to line up your bushing. You can see in the hole there, you'll line up the bushing, and you'll take your slide stop pin or your takedown pin and start it into the designated hole there. And then you'll want to slide to the rear and line it back up with the takedown notch, and you just push it in at that point. Now you'll want to be real careful when you do that, because if it's not lined up perfectly, you'll could quite possibly scratch the slide or the receiver. So you just want to take your time, get it lined up perfect, and then just drop it in. Shouldn't have to force it by any means. It should slide right in. At this point you'll just slide. Whoa, wait, actually you got to put your barrel bushing in. As I was saying before, this is fitted, so you got to kind of do this before you push the slide forward. So you'll put your barrel bushing over your barrel, slide it down into the slide, line the notch up until it falls into place, and then turn it clockwise. Now you can pull your slide forward and reapply the safety, and that way the slide doesn't move, and it makes it easier to install the spring and the cap. So at this point you'll just slide your spring down in there, and you'll take the cap, put it on top of the spring, get your handy dandy bushing tool, and then once again it's gonna be hard to see, but all you'll do is press the cap down, line it up with the bushing, and then turn it counterclockwise until it locks in place. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. You can get it started with your hand and then use the wrench. And mainly the only reason, I know a lot of you are going, you don't need that wrench, you can do it by hand. But not with this one, boys. It's a tight fit. You're going to have to use this wrench. So then you just turn it until the cap pops up into place, into the groove of the muzzle or the barrel bushing, and there you have it. You're set. Wipe it down good with a good clean cotton. I use old t-shirts. Wipe the excess oil. You want to knock the safety off. Rack it back a few times. Smooth as glass. This sucker's ready to shoot. Alright, so the next video, we're going to take her to the range, throw some full metal jackets through it, and see what she'll do. I have high expectations with the fitted barrel bushing. It should be extremely accurate. It's a good tight fit. There's not hardly any play in the slide. It's got a real good trigger on it, smooth. But it's a tight fit. It's a good fitted 1911. I would highly recommend it. It's a fine pistol, and I'm happy to own it. But anyway, next video will be at the range shooting the Remington R1 1911. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching Bar 20 Arms.